So welcome to Rookies Learn to Crochet, episode 2. This is Amber Johnson with Craftaboo, and I'm so glad to have you watching. Today we are going to learn one of the basic crochet stitches, the single crochet. So let's get started. So in our last lesson, we learned how to make the chain stitch, which is right here all beautiful and pretty and ready to be worked into. So today we're going to learn the single crochet, and all that means is it's going to be one single stitch, and there's several different kinds. There's a double crochet, there's a half double crochet, there's all kinds of different fun ones, but the single crochet is probably one of the most basic stitches that you will ever need to have. And if you can master the chain stitch, which you already did in your last lesson, and the single crochet, you will literally have the basis to work on thousands of projects. So let's get started. We wrap our yarn around our fingers and we pinch down here to hold our yarn, and we go in. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work into the second stitch. Now what that means is there's stitches that we've already made and we can count them down, and this is the first stitch right next to your hook. We're going to work into the second stitch, which is right here, and each stitch is composed of 3 strands of yarn. You can kind of see there's one right here, there's one in the middle, and then there's one on top. Right now it doesn't really matter which one you work into because we're doing something called working into the chain. This is just making your foundation row. So we take our hook and we go under one of these loops right here, just like that. And then we go behind the yarn, turn our hook, pull through. This is called yarning over and pulling up a loop. So now you have 2 loops on your hook, 1, 2. Now we yarn over again by going behind the yarn, grabbing a strand with our hook, turning it towards us, and pulling through both loops on the hook. Whoops, and hopefully your hook stays in because mine has a tendency to just pop right out. So we just put it back in. So there's one single crochet stitch. So let's do that again. We work into our next stitch, the top loop right there. We go under, we grab a strand of yarn by yarning over. That's what this motion right here is called, because the yarn is over your hook. So we yarn over, we pull through a loop. So now you can see there's 2 loops on the hook again. We yarn over again, and we pull through both loops on the hook, just like this. And sometimes the yarn likes to split and separate. Just make sure you get it through all the strands. So now you've made 2 single crochets, and so you can see there's 1 and 2. So let's finish out the rest of the row really slowly so we get this stitch down. So we go into this top loop right here. We yarn over by pulling up a strand of yarn, just like that. We've got 2 on our hook. We yarn over again and pull through both loops. Okay, so we go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And you can kind of see as you're working, you're building your stitches. You can see our first, second, third, and we just made 4 stitches. So we'll go through the rest of this row. We've got 3 more stitches. And I will say, working into the chain is one of the most awkward things that you'll ever have to master in crochet. It's not a lot of material to hold on to. It's kind of fidgety with how to put your yarn around your fingers and hold on to your hook, especially for a beginner. So be kind to yourself. Take it slow. If you get frustrated, just keep pushing through. Set it down, walk away, go do something else. Come back to it. I promise it gets easier as you do it. So let's do one more. We go through the top loop with our hook. We yarn over, we pull through, and now you have 2 on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 on the hook. We've got 2 more left. Can you see them now? Are you starting to see the difference? There's 1, 2 more to go. And so we go through our top loop right here. Yarn over, pull through. You've got 2 on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, let's go into the last one on our row by doing the same thing. Yarn over, pull through. There's 2 on the hook. Yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, now we have finished our row. We are back in the slip knot that we made back in the chain stitch, and I just pull it to keep it a little more tight. So now you can see that we've finished that row. Congratulations, look at this. So let me go over, when we go into the next row, can you see the top of any project, any stitch that you make is going to have these little V's. This is called the top of your stitch, and this is what we'll be working into on our next row. If you can see the difference between this side and this side, you see all of these little V's across the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our next row. So insert your hook and pull it tight. Now you're going to chain 1, so like we did in the last video, and then we're going to turn our work, so we're going back the way that we just came. So you work back through your work from the previous row. And that is common in most any project that you will do, is chaining 1 and turning. Some of them will have you chain 2, some of them will have you chain 3. Just make sure that you follow what they say. They have the turning chain so that when you turn it, you don't get all of this mixed up and all confused. You turn it and you can clearly see where your first stitch is. So now that we're going to do the chain stitch again, not the chain stitch, I'm sorry, the single crochet stitch back the other way. So remember how I told you there were V's that we work under? There's 1, 2 little loops, strands. You're going to insert your hook under both of those strands. So you see, let me work. You've got those 2 strands right there. That was your first chain stitch from the previous row, your first single crochet stitch. So we yarn over and we pull through a loop. So now there's 2. We yarn over and pull through 2. So we're going to do it again. Go under both loops, pull up a loop. You have 2 on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. And it's just a very fluid, very easy motion. There's not a lot to it once you get used to the muscle memory here. And sometimes, like you're seeing, there's little strands of yarn that don't want to cooperate. So we're going to just go back the way we came, go through all of our stitches. And when you get to the end, it's kind of hard to see your first crochet stitch. So what I do is I go under the first one that I can see, and then I go towards the back and I pop it through on the back side. So now you can see there's 2 strands right there on the hook. Yarn over and pull through, and you have 2 on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, and now you're at the end of your second row. You can kind of see that your project is building with these stitches. Here was your first one, here's our second one, all of our nice little V's in a straight line. So there you go, that is the single crochet stitch, and I hope that you will practice it and get really good at it so that next time we meet you will be able to work on the project that I have in mind for you. I'm going to combine the 2 stitches that we've already learned, the chain stitch and the single crochet, into a project so that the next time we meet you will have the basics to be able to complete that project. So I'm really looking forward to that. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you next time on Rookies Learn to Crochet.